relate to safety. So whether it's pesticide safety or tractor safety, I think it's an important lesson to learn today, and we're going to have a little demonstration. But I'm going to introduce some of our speakers today, and so Jason Lilly is extension professional down in Cumberland County, and he's going to do a little quick demonstration and talk about the 10 Commandments of tractor safety. So Jason, you want to start?
Cool. Thanks, Rick. Yeah, so I'm part of the tractor and farm safety team that we've got at the University of Maine, and we offer courses all across the state where youth and anybody who's interested in learning more about operating tractors and operating them safely can come and take those classes. One of the central components of that class is what we call the 10 Commandments of Tractor Safety. So I'm just going to run down through those quickly, and then we're going to get into a PTO entanglement demonstration and show you just how scary and fast, a PTO entanglement can happen. So the first commandment is to know your tractor and its implements. Anybody have any ideas on how you can get more familiar with the equipment that you're working with? YouTube, there's one way. Any other ideas? How about your operator's manual? You look at the specific piece of equipment or the specific tractor that you've got, and you can either, this will come with any new piece of equipment, or if you've got older equipment, you can go online and pick that up. It gives you all sorts of good information on how often different maintenance operations should happen, what, your control panel, what those different symbols mean, and some of the safety features on that equipment. Any other ideas? Let's see. How long have you been running a tractor?
I don't.
You don't? Anybody else got a little bit of experience here? Maybe a couple guys in the audience. So, yeah. So, it doesn't have to come from a book. There's people around, there's people on the farms who have been doing this for a long time and know the proper way to do stuff and the safe way to do stuff. So you can always take the new people on the farm and make sure that you as a farm owner, the farm manager, take the time to really give people a thorough overview of safe tractor operation. So the second commandment is to use your ROPS and your seat belt if you have them together. So your rollover protective structure, as most of you know, is the bar that goes up over the tractor. In any tractor that has a cab on it, you've got that bar there. So if you rolled over, you'd be protected between the top of the bar and the nose of the cab of the tractor. So when you have that roller protective structure on a tractor, it's important to use your seat belt, because there's a chance that as you're rolling, you would get caught under the roll bar itself. So, it's a thing that most people don't do, but definitely a good idea to have your seat belt on. If you don't have your ROPS on a tractor, you shouldn't wear a seat belt so you have the potential to be thrown or jump away. So you got number 3 is to be familiar with the terrain. So we were just talking about the rollover protective structure, and the situations in which that would be important is when you're operating on steep slopes, and particularly when you're haying or when you're bush hogging a field, and you're going to have the potential to have groundhog holes or stumps that you might ride up on. That's a potential for rolling over. So it's a good idea to walk those fields beforehand and make sure that you know where you might come into those situations where you might have the likelihood to roll over. Kathy, do you mind holding these? Number 4 is to, it's always a good idea to let your tractor warm up before you take it out into the field. But who knows why you don't want to let your tractor warm up inside a barn. And carbon monoxide poisoning. So always, start the tractor, roll it out into an open area. This is dangerous for humans and for your livestock. So don't be running equipment inside closed barns. Next, we're going to see why it's important to keep your PTO properly shielded, your PTO shaft. We're working with the organization, the New York Center for Agricultural Health and Medicine, and they're sponsoring a lot of the ag safety work that we're doing here in Maine. And they have these catalogs where they have reduced prices for PTO shaft shields and for other safety equipment like respirators, hearing protection, safety glasses. They also have a great list of different tasks that you might be responsible for doing on the farm, and what sort of safety equipment you should have if you're going to be doing those tasks. So we've got these catalogs. Feel free to come up and grab them if you're interested in any of that. And just, the PTOs are one of the most dangerous aspects on a tractor. That's where most of your accidents are going to happen. So always, steer clear of those and never be in around that shaft when the tractor's on. Next we got, it's important to keep your hitches low and on the drawbar. So, we've got this trailing sprayer hooked onto the drawbar down here. The drawbar is connected below the axle. So if we got pulling, there's no chance for the front end to be pulled up, because it would actually be kind of corrected by the position of that drawbar. Some people, if you're pulling logs out of the woods, something like that, you might think that it's a good idea to hitch high and get the butt of that log up out of the ground. But if you hitch up above your axle, you have the potential to pull your front end right up and over and backwards. So always keep your hitches low and on the drawbar. Next is to never jump off a moving tractor. I had a pretty bad accident just a few months ago. There's a farmer, he'd been out in the field all day, and he went to get off the tractor, and I'm assuming that it was an older tractor with the stick shift right between your legs. And as he got up, his knee hit that stick shift and put it into gear. He lost balance and fell down and got his legs crushed. So, always a good idea to stop and shut the tractor off all the way before you get off of it. And definitely never get off it while it's still moving, especially the older tractors. If that's in gear, it's just going to keep going with nobody on it, and it's a pretty dangerous situation. Next is to keep children off of equipment and away from equipment. You see a lot of times people riding on fenders, and I rode on axles when I was young, and it's just a really dangerous situation. So there's one seat on the tractor, and that's because there's only supposed to be one rider on the tractor. Never refuel while the engine's hot. That's just a potential fire hazard. And this is we always feel like in the farming community that we're in a big rush, and it's true. Like, there's a lot of stuff to get done, but it's worth taking those extra few seconds, really thinking through the different tasks that you need to do. And if you see something that's unsafe, take that extra few minutes and correct it. So we've got different safety features. We've got our fire extinguisher. Just taking the time to put one of those on your tractor might be the difference between completely losing a tractor and having minor damage. Having a first aid kit on the tractor, same thing. You could really save from having serious accidents by being able to stop bleeding or something like that quickly. What's the 11th commandment?
No extra riders.
No extra riders. We hit that one. Cool. All right. So now we're going to do our PTO entanglement demonstration. Rick's going to start up the tractor now, and I would just ask that anybody kind of in this zone move over that way.